With Avowed released and being one of the biggest AAA RPGs of 2025, it's time to revisit the game that started it all. If you didn't already know, Obsidian's Pillars of Eternity is from the same developer and also shares the same world, Aora, with the game Avowed. Let's dive deep into the game design behind Pillars of Eternity, a modern classic that revived the isometric RPG genre and set the bar quite high for narrative-driven role-playing games. So I had this idea to only play Pillars of Eternity for a few hours to capture footage for this video, but man, this game is just so good. I couldn't stop, and I played all the way through to the end. This game hit the scene like a well-aimed fireball. Fans of Baldur's Gate and Planescape Torment felt like they were coming home. Obsidian didn't just say, hey, remember those classic RPGs? They said, let's revive that magic, but with a modern twist. It's not just nostalgic, it's smart, deep, and well-designed. If you loved Baldur's Gate 3 and haven't played this one yet, I think Pillars is next on your list. But keep in mind that it was released in 2015. So, why does it work so well? Simple. Pillars of Eternity delivers on both the promise of tactical combat and the rich, lore-heavy storytelling we crave in an RPG. Let's dig into why that is, but before we dive into it, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell if you see value in videos like this, so you won't miss any of my future game design analyses. Obsidian didn't just make a game, they built a whole universe. Aora is a world where souls matter, literally. The lore behind reincarnation, soul transfers, and how this shapes the society is pure Obsidian genius. When you meet a character, you're not just talking to some NPC, you're meeting someone whose very soul might have a backstory that intertwines with the world itself. And it's not just lore for lore's sake. You, the player, get to interact with this concept through soul reading, which lets you see into people's past lives. It's like getting a glimpse of their personal history, and your choices can totally affect how things play out. The stakes feel real because the world feels real. Why does that work? You're not just playing a game, you're in a living, breathing world where every choice adds a little wrinkle to the story. Speaking of choices, Pillars of Eternity is loaded with them. The beauty here isn't just in the branching storylines, but in how the game makes you stop and think about why you're choosing something. There are moral gray areas everywhere. Help a faction and another might hate you for it. Sacrifice one thing and you might gain something unexpected down the line. No choice feels insignificant. This is classic Obsidian, where your decisions have weight. But beware, because sometimes what seems like a good idea can have serious repercussions later on. It's like playing chess, except instead of pawns, you're dealing with people's lives. Pro tip, you will spend an unreasonable amount of time mulling over dialogue options, and you're gonna love every second of it. Combat in Pillars of Eternity is for the strategists out there. It's real-time with a pause feature that lets you micromanage your party's every move. So if you're the kind of person who likes to plan your attacks 3 steps ahead, this is your jam. Each class brings something different to the battlefield. You've got tanks holding down the front line, sneaky rogues flanking enemies, and wizards raining down arcane havoc from the back. But it's not as simple as hit them until they die. No. Pillars makes you think about positioning, ability cooldowns, and party synergy. It's tactical combat at its finest. It can be tough to wrap your head around if you're new to this style of RPG combat, but once it clicks, it's like orchestrating your own personal symphony of destruction. If you're thinking this is going to be a Skyrim-style open world, let's reset those expectations. Pillars is all about interconnected zones. Over 150 of them, and beautifully handcrafted by the way, each with its own story and secrets. These aren't just zones though, they feel like real places with history, people, and challenges to overcome. Exploration rewards you with lore, quests, and loot. And here's the thing, you'll want to explore every nook and cranny, every chest you open, and character you talk to has potential to deepen the story or add new layers of your understanding of the world. And character builds. One of the best parts of Pillars is how you get to tailor your character's growth. As you level up, you're not just making your character stronger in combat, but also expanding their role-playing capabilities. You can specialize in lore and unlock hidden dialogues, or beef up your combat skills and become a powerhouse on the battlefield. Another pro tip, your choices here aren't just about surviving combat, they're about shaping how you interact with the world. You can literally talk your way out of, or into, trouble. Not everything is sunshine and roses though. If you're not into reading or lore-heavy games, Pillars might feel like a bit of a slog. There's a lot of text. For some, that's the whole appeal, and if you're coming in for a fast-paced action game, then the pacing might feel a little slow. And let's be honest, the combat can feel overwhelming. Micromanaging every party member during big fights is stressful, especially if you're still learning the ropes. But stick with it, and it becomes one of the most rewarding parts of the game. So, what makes Pillars of Eternity great game design? It's the way everything, world building, narrative, combat, player choices, comes together seamlessly. The game constantly engages you, whether you're fighting, exploring, or unraveling the mysteries of Eora. The fact that Avowed is set in the same universe only amps up the excitement. If you love RPGs with deep lore, tactical combat, and meaningful choices, Pillars of Eternity is a must-play. And for those of us who haven't played Avowed yet, this is the perfect time to revisit Eora and see where it all began. So that's why Pillars of Eternity stands tall as one of the best designed RPGs of all time. Obsidian knocked it out of the park by creating a world that's not only rich with lore, but also filled with tactical depth and meaningful choices. It's a game where every decision matters, where the world feels alive, and where combat is as much about strategy as it is about power. And hey, if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button and let me know in the comments what game I should cover next. Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into great game design. Until next time, keep adventuring, and I'll see you in the next one.